One sunny morning in 1172, in Fujian, China, May was preparing tea for her family and some intermediaries. May was one of the most sought-after eligible girls in the province. Their guests were intermediaries, sent by a suitor who wanted to win May's hands in marriage. May thought he was a weakling, a far cry from the kind of real man in shining armor she dreamed of as her lifetime partner. Suddenly, without warning, the main door of their house fell apart with such noise and violence that May's tea was spilled all over the floor. A frightening sight greeted May. A group of fierce-looking men wearing red cloth on their heads and their entire body covered with tattoos had barged into their house, all of them wielding swords. The sight of the men was so horrifying that May's vision twirled, and she fainted. 3 months before that incident in Fujian, China, on one of the islands of the central part of the present-day Philippines, a group of warriors known as Pintados were preparing to board their Bagani wooden boats. The Pintados were on a mission to raid the villages of Fujian, China, to gather much-needed iron. The Pintados need these metals to craft their weapons. These fearsome warriors wore tattoos on their whole body, and they wore red scarves on their heads, as an identity that they have proven their strength and ability in battle. This completes their fearsome looks. The Pintados were highly skilled in a combat-based fighting style using swords and knives, known as kali. After they finished loading their boats with provisions, they sailed to their target for 3 months, using the favorable winds of that season to reach it. When they reached the shores of their target, Chinese soldiers guarding the coast met them with force. But they were no match to the military prowess of the fearless Pintados. They were swiftly overpowered. The Pintados attacked with such unparalleled precision, raw power, and lightning-fast speed that the Chinese were caught off guard. The Pintados hurriedly gathered anything made of iron, but the Pintados were also on a mission to take some slaves. The leader of the raiding Pintados, a man named Bagani, together with some of his men barged down on one of the houses. A beautiful young woman, who was in the process of preparing tea, caught Bagani's sight. During that fast-paced action, Bagani was almost mesmerized for a split second by the beauty of the woman before him. The woman fainted upon seeing them. Bagani quickly grabbed her without hesitation, while his men searched for the much-needed iron. "Don't harm the people of this household if they do not resist," Bagani warned his men. The Pintados left Fujian, China, without any casualties on their side. May's hands and feet were trembling. Her feet and the palm of her hand were sweating profusely from fear. All the while, during the duration of the journey, the leader of the group encouraged her to eat and rehydrate herself with sufficient water. "Eat this, so you will regain your strength," the leader told her. When the boat reached the destination, May was already very weak and could hardly walk from the intense mental torture within her. The leader of the Pintados took May as his slave. However, contrary to May's expectation that she would be treated harshly as a slave, the leader of the group and his household treated her very kindly. Bagani's younger sister was very close to her. She later learned that the Pintados leader's name was Bagani. He is very kind to her as well. Bagani stood out as the undisputed leader of the Pintados, despite his young age. He did not earn his position by appointment from a hierarchy, but rather he earned it because he showed wise and decisive leadership, and people followed him. Bagani is a leader like no other. He is a decisive warrior with a very agile movement, quick wit, and unwavering courage. Bagani also possessed a handsome visage that he could easily charm women without much effort. Bagani appears as if he is not interested in the opposite sex, but the truth is that he is waiting for a partner who matches and embodies the woman of his dream. As the days passed, May began to see Bagani in a new light. Even though she detests the seemingly savage existence of Bagani's people, she finds out that their life is a constant battle for existence. In her short stay with Bagani's people, she discovered that cataclysmic acts of nature constantly visit their place. Typhoons displaced people, and the horrifying aftermath is unbearable to May. She believed she could not live in this place. This added to her desire to return to China and her people. But despite all these negative impressions, she also observed that the Pintados are happy people who value the family structure. They are happy just sticking to each other. May observed that Bagani is a selfless leader who puts the welfare of his people above his own. Judging from what she observed, Bagani is the kind of leader who would sacrifice himself for the sake of his people, and his people followed him adoringly. May began to admire her captor, but she remained guarded. The events that brought her to this predicament cannot be easily forgotten. As the days passed, May began to suffer from depression. The culture shock she experienced did not help her condition. She became weaker and had lost weight. May saw Bagani's concern for her. "This is your new life. You'd better adopt. You will like it here. You will see." He advised her, but May is inconsolable. One day, May saw Bagani boarding a boat in the harbor. An alarm rings a bell in May's heart. Is he embarking on another dangerous expedition? May asked herself. Something was tugging at her heart. Deep concern for Bagani overtook May. 2 days have passed and Bagani had not returned.